What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Back again with another Market Pulse update. We are on April 24th of 2024. Almost at the end of the month, folks. One more week to go, as a matter of fact, to see how we end up closing Bitcoin, which currently sits at $64,105. Has been progressing slowly to the upside. It's just a matter of will we get the close above that monthly candle above 70,000 to get 8 months in a row. Wild Wednesday alert as always, and diving in, checking out some PulseChain prices. Looks like altcoins are taking a little bit of a pump, and we're going to be diving into that and more. But y'all already know it is Wednesday, my dude, so let's hit you with it.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dudes, and I hope all of y'all are having a fantastic day as always, boys and gals. Diving into Bitcoin real quick. We got Bitcoin sitting at $64,185. On the daily, you can see it's been on an upward trend, as a matter of fact, over the last week. When we last did the stream last Wednesday, as a matter of fact, we were sitting closer to $61,000 as the price closed that particular day. And you can see it's up 4.71% from that week, but it's been on a pretty decent upward trend. To be fair to Bitcoin, it did in fact break out of the trend at this point in time. So it's one of those questions that we have to ask. Will it end up closing prior or higher than 71,000, which we have this marked right here? This is so that way Bitcoin can actually get its 8 green months in a row, which has never happened before in Bitcoin's history. It's just a matter of will it be able to do it? So we are definitely checking to see how this is going to close again, to see what it would actually end up needing to be at to actually get to that 71,000. We would need roughly about a 11% pump or 11% increase in the price action, which we have seen on many green candles before. You can in fact see on this one it's right around 9.62. Now again, it doesn't have to be just one candle alone to make it happen. It can actually be a couple back to back to back, kind of like this, where you get a nice little increase of 25%. So we have seen these moves happen before. It's just a matter of can Bitcoin get there? That would be pretty darn wild. And I say this because Bitcoin is essentially still got Grayscale selling as they have been and really been doing nothing but sell their Bitcoin the entire time they've actually owned Bitcoin. BlackRock has gone and bought up many of the Bitcoins at this point in time, and essentially kind of swapping who owns what amount of tokens. So you can see now they are down to 302,000, whereas I believe just last week they were in the ballpark. Well, I guess we can look at it right here of roughly around 312,000 Bitcoin, losing or selling at this point in time roughly about 10,000 more Bitcoin. So this has been a continual trend. It looks like they are still continuing to do it, whereas the other ETFs are in fact buying up that Bitcoin that is actually being sold. So that is a net positive for the overall day as it ends up closing. So essentially, they're just trading hands. But what's really happening is retail investors are finally starting to step in. The Bitcoin halving has, in fact, already happened now as of a couple of days ago. And now it's just a matter of seeing what, in fact, actually happens next. Usually, to keep it simple again, you would expect to have a red month at some point for Bitcoin. Could this be the month where Bitcoin decides to finally close red, or do we just shock the world and say 8 months in a row, let's freaking do it? You have Ethereum sitting at $3,139 at this point in time. And again, if it was to do a same move, it was also on a pretty damn good trend. If you were to actually, draw this out, looks like, in fact, it's still trying to support that trend right now. Just a matter of will it continue to actually keep making higher highs and higher lows. It does look like a level of support has in fact been held. It's just a matter of will it maintain holding that level of support at the 0.5, or does it need to go ahead and drop down a little bit further, breaking into the 0.382 level? That is what we are all waiting to see right now, right? Now, when I pull this up over here, if I actually pull this up on the channel side, you can see that the actual channels are in fact moving to the downward trend right now. This is giving an overall trend right here. So you can see on this side and then on the lower side of where the bands think it may end up going, should it decide to go a little bit lower. So this is putting it in the ballpark of about 2,400, whereas the average, if it does decide to end up dropping down around 2,600, and again, pretty much playing within this little parallel channel right now, which is definitely a possibility. Bringing it into the 2,800 should it go down. Great buying opportunities if you are looking to scoop some additional Ethereum up before the actual move really ends up taking off. Looking at the same chart over here with Bitcoin, you can see it's damn near identical. You can see the times where we actually have, in fact, a break up out of the trend, what actually happens from there. And again, you can see what happens on the breakdowns as well. If we go back a little bit further, okay, you got to go back too far. Yeah, I won't even pull up there. So again, each time it's done some breakups, what we're waiting for. So can we in fact break out of this trend right here to get that nice little break up and get that little pump above 71,000? That's kind of what I'm paying attention to. Again, on the daily chart on the Impulse MACD, looking pretty darn bullish still, or I say bearish still. It is trying to, in fact, flip this blue line, crossing over into the orange line. That would be the bullish move at that point in time, is what we were waiting for to see if that is how this whole thing will end up playing out, or if we just keep on going as we have been, just a little bit sideways now at this point in time. Again, that's the overall chart for those two particular tokens. Altcoins are doing pretty damn good. Looking at the total three right now, including Bitcoin and Ethereum, it is on that same trend, a beautiful little trend up, making those higher highs and higher lows. You can see when it actually has, in fact, broken out of these trends, how it ends up playing. So we would, in fact, want to see a break out of the trend at this point, breaking us into the next level, which is potentially back above the $800 billion market cap for the total three, would be pretty darn bullish. If you look at the Impulse MACD on the daily, it is starting to curve ever so slightly, which is bullish in that regard. Altcoins, in fact, did get some pump today as well. We're going to be diving into that as well. Let me say hello to some beautiful people. Tin Top, what's going on, my friend? How are you? What's up, Hexicans? Lord of the Ponzi. Made it to the live. Pulse Nation, LFG. Absolutely. Tin Top in the house. Wednesday, my dudes. Sure is. Sure is. Chaztown. So much love to you, my guy. So much love. Made it, fam. Yes, you sure did. And Tam Tam saying what's up, fam. I hope all y'all are having a fantastic day as always, boys and gals. So, whoops. Diving in over on the PulseChain ecosystem real quick. We have the prices of PulseChain sitting at 40727, prices of PulseX sitting at 40299, incentive at $3.65, and the price of Hex at 20826. This is also bringing the ratio on Ethereum Hex to 2017 at a below 1 to 5 ratio, sitting at 1 to 4.7. So pretty shocking there. Looks like Ethereum Hex has, in fact, as of right now, found a bottom. In fact, if we actually were to pull up just the EHEX chart as well, or alone on the EHEX chart, you can see it has essentially started to find its bottom now. And it's kind of held this price during this entire time. So even though Hex over on PulseChain has done many moves up and down over the last 20 days in particular, this is down 2.45%, whereas you get Hex over on PulseChain. Whoops, drawing that up. There we go. Hex over on PulseChain right now, whereas again in the last 20 days for this particular chart, it's been quite the roller coaster, right? You can actually see it's been quite a bit of a roller coaster over here from where it's actually had a lot of hype going on. It's had some big pumps going on. It's had some big dips that have followed. And that is down currently 16.32% over the last 21 days. But again, just looking at that same metric around the same range. Even over here, you got to see it almost do a 2x in the span of 7 days. Wow. And It is short-lived, unfortunately. This seems to be a continual thing, so I am paying attention to it, where we get the beautiful 2x pumps followed by some sell-offs at this point in time, bringing a downward potential of 31%. So if you are one of the unfortunate souls who are buying on the green pumps, do not worry, this is short term. I've said this in the past, but you do have to have not only a short term goal of where you think prices and all that are going to go, but also a long term vision. And the way I see Hex personally, from my own perspective and from my own view, is going to be a long term token. Could it still do crazy things this cycle? Absolutely. And if it decides to end up hitting these levels of even reaching upwards of $1 and it retains the same 1 to 5 ratio as we have been seeing, that would put Hex over on Ethereum at 20 cents. And then everyone's bags are pretty damn happy again. So if you can scoop up yourself a nice little size bag at this point, we're a decent sized bag again, even just reaching up to $1 right here, still a 124x. So I've said this in the past, but sometimes you got to go look a little bit further instead of looking exactly what the charts are exactly doing right now, because we have seen these pumps come. When they arrive very quickly. And looking at the fib retracement level on Hex over on PulseChain as well, it does show that we could be estimating the price going to $1.34. That would be pretty damn bullish, if you ask me, for many people. And again, this is just one of the levels it can possibly hit. It can always do crazier things than a lot of people do not expect at this point in time. And so if I'm anticipating to hit $1, maybe, or maybe $1.34, maybe it just hits $1. So make sure you have the 5P set up of proper preparation, preventing poor performance. You do always want to make sure that you are covering your bases no matter what. We did talk about PulseX the other day and where the prices could end up going back down to. We have fallen outside of the 20-day moving average channel at this point in time. We did go retest this level, unfortunately, and we actually bounced off as a resistance. Now, at this point in time, we are checking to see if we can maintain this trend that we have been on. Very short trend, nothing too crazy here. But we are actually playing within this trend. And if it decides to end up going further than that as well, levels I would pay attention to 4028. Next level would be 4027. And then going down a little bit further was probably the bigger one, would be roughly in this little zone, bigger level 4024 as well as 4023. Now, again, in regards to like price decreases, 17, 18% decreases, nothing too crazy, but people are tired of seeing the red candles. And unfortunately, we have a whole lot of holders in the ecosystem and not a lot of buyers. But because we have a lot of holders, let me kind of see if I can break this down in a different way. Because we have a lot of holders right now and a lot of sellers, excluding the buyers part of it, causes the price to go down. So a lot of people have bought their essential bag that they say that they wanted to end up getting to, making their goals attained because prices have been down longer than expected. So that allows you the opportunity to end up accumulating a nice size bag, maybe bigger than you were initially even expecting. So because of that, you got a whole lot of holders right now, a whole bunch of holders. Even though you can kind of see it over here on the actual sellers slash versus buyers right now, we have on the 24-hour side 460 buyers, 724 sellers. Even though the buy volume is slightly outpacing the sell volume, again, the amount of sellers is coming through. So it is starting to show to some degree. And this is going to be the same for many of the tokens, whether it's Hex, PulseChain, or even PulseX. People are seeing 784 buyers, 683 sellers. However, the dollar value over on the sellers is more than the dollar values over on the buyers, thereby causing prices to go down lower than expected. So pay attention to what we can actually see over here. If you actually look at the PulseChain side of things as well, levels I would pay attention to for price potentials would be the 406592 That would be a level of support resistance that we've seen hit a few times already now at this point in time. So if prices do want to continue to decrease, then it is what it is. We have hit the 50 weeks at this point in time. Today, as a matter of fact, is the 50-week period. Or 50, yeah, 50 weeks. So let me just make sure. What date is 50 weeks from May 12th, 2023? Let's just see what it pulls up. Okay, cool. April 26th. So I actually had that slightly off myself. Let me just go ahead and fix that on my chart. Where'd the chart go? Here we go. So April 26th. Let's just go ahead and move this over by 2 days. So bam, the 50 weeks shakeout week hands is going to be on this particular day, according to Google. So this is where we're going to be seeing a whole lot of people, whether they end up taking action or no action or what's going on. This is something that people are paying attention to. Again, that's where I'm seeing prices ended up going. We have, in fact, bounced off the moving average channel. Looking at the weekly as well, we've actually done the same thing where we are below the moving average channel right now, bouncing a level of support right now. I would love to see us bounce off this. If it does decide to end up coming back down, the level of resistance would, in fact, be these metrics that we're seeing in these ranges right now that we would really need to break out of. Now, at this point, again, on the weekly side, folks, look at this. I just noticed we have hit almost 8 weeks in a row. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks red monthly candles. It takes a mental toll on many people, unfortunately. And I know it's all short term when you think about this kind of stuff, but this ends up wrecking your mentality. So make sure that if you are feeling impacted somehow, some way, whether it be looking at these charts and seeing all of the prices and everything actually happening, one thing that you can always do for yourself is try to zoom out and try to see the bigger picture. So that way you stop looking necessarily at the daily, at the weekly, you can start seeing bigger pictures over here where crypto tends to end up going up. Even looking at the overall total crypto market cap tends to go up. Total 2 market cap tends to go up. Looking at the others, which is the top 10 excluding the top 10, should I say, tends to go up. Sometimes it's just going to take a little bit longer than you might expect. So definitely be paying attention to all of these instances so we can make sure that your mentality is right, folks, because unfortunately what I see happen is people falling for freaking scams left and right. This has been one of those recurring things that for whatever reason, people just want quick validation. They want quick gains. They want money for free. They want something just rapidly to happen. And even Richard Hart made a post on this today as well, talking about falling for scams. Like it's even when I read through the comments on this, it was wild. But literally, he says, "Stop getting drained trying to claim airdrops from fake links. Stop getting drained trying to use fake bridges from fake websites. No one can save you but yourself. I'm fatigued from warning you." And as you go down, you have people end up doing where was it? I don't think I ended up saving it. The desperate don't answer anything from Telegram. Let me see if I can find it because ended up saying something right here. I'm guilty, got done yesterday, never again. And you're like, how many people have we heard alone from even Coinfessions on our TGI Friday streams that we do, talking about these same things where people have invested years of time and money and effort just to get drained within minutes, seconds, or even like it happens so fast. As soon as you do something incorrectly, you should be paranoid and then take your level of paranoia and add another level of paranoia on top of that. Are you even paranoid enough? You should be paranoid about being paranoid. This is real, y'all. This is absolutely real. People love picking up pennies. They just keep forgetting freight trains. They literally do. And again, this is one of those things that you just see happening over and over and over and over again. And it's just wild, right? Yes, I got scammed from a link here. 34 million PulseX taken from my account. I have the transaction contract number and the address of who took it, but there's nothing I can do. Which there is a way to find their location. Do not give access to your account from external links. And you're like, guys, like, why does that even need to be said? It does need to be said, unfortunately. That's the downside. This has to be constantly repeated over and over and over. And I will do my best to also share that exact same sentiment. Stop clicking on freaking scam shit, y'all. People got freaking scammed from the times of when it actually happened over on the Uniswap thing. That was one of the most recent ones that I had been hearing, actually, as a matter of fact, where people ended up saying Uniswap was getting sued or having the notice by the SEC. And then there's a whole bunch of scams that came out. And you could look at the username. That's one of the easiest ways you can tell a scam right from the jump, especially if you're doing things on Twitter. Oh, no, I did not. What is this one? You heard the minimum meal scam? No, I did not. And actually, I figured out how to say that word from yesterday that I couldn't pronounce. Infinite. Nope. Infinites. Nope. I tried again. It's infinitesimally. There you go. I just had to look away for a second, stop talking. But I actually had to go to my wife and was like, "How do you say this word?" She's like, "It's not what you think." And she said it, and I had to repeat it probably about 100 times. And I'm still trying to learn how to say that word as well. If y'all haven't seen that word, I'll even infinite. Here we go. All right, let's just pull it up real fast, just so that way y'all can see this damn word. This thing had me stumped a couple of times, unfortunately, reading one of the articles. And it was just like, damn, really, man? Every single time. So this was the actual word over here. Boom. Where am I at? Boom. Right here. Infinitesimally. Does that sound right? It doesn't. It doesn't. But that's how you say it, apparently. Infinitesimally. We learn stuff every single day over here on the channel with ATX Crypto, and I hope all of y'all got to learn that as well. And that way you can also take that into what it is. So that way y'all have an idea. But again, this is one of those yes, people end up getting drained all day long. In fact, you can actually see this kind of stuff from the wallet hacks that end up happening over on DeFi Llama. $7.7 billion hacked. And again, this doesn't even account for like people who don't report stuff. This is just stuff like private key compromise or flash loans coming or storage slot exploit from protocols and stuff like that, whether it be bridges or protocols. These are the most recent ones that I've been hearing where $62 million hacked here and the rhymes with Lunchables type deal, right? So no, I guess I didn't hear the other one. No, Mr. Big Payday, I see you, my friend. What's up? I see you. I see. I hope you're not banned. I mean, considering I just saw your chat, I would assume that you are not banned. But we got moderators in the chat, and I don't know if you said something to upset them and they put you on a timeout. I don't know, but I doubt that. We got some awesome mods in the house as well. Appreciate everyone who comes through as a mod. Crypto Khalil, as a matter of fact. What up, family? How are you? Best buys, in my view, are now uh best buys in my view now are PulseX and eHex. Yeah, I mean, you just looking at it from a standpoint of where everything sits right now. I've always been a big fan of eHex. I've always said that's a good play. Yes, the price has gone down even further, right? And if I thought it was a good buy before, why would I stop buying? And especially considering, like, I'm not gonna say like ETH has its shit together because it doesn't always. But when gas fees are 8 like that's bearable. Like I thought 20. I finally accepted being in the 20s as was acceptable, and that's crazy because I used to never transact above 10 Gwei. I used to just refuse to transact. And then I was like, fuck, man, it's not really going back down below 10. I guess I'll just start transacting 10 to 15, anything lower than 15, right? We always adjust our reasonings to match what we need. And then it went up to 15. And then it didn't go below 15 for a while. And I was like, oh man, I would love to stake. I would love to do some transactions. I would love to swap. I would love to do this. Forget it, man. It's just a couple extra dollars, right? That's what it always is. Then it got above 20, and I was like, man, this thing's really not coming back down below 20. But this is bearable whenever it comes to ending a stake, as a matter of fact, y'all. Like, that's actually, it's actually doable, right? Let me see if I can pull up something real quick while on stream with everybody and log into this wallet here. And here we go. Okay. What? All right. Well, apparently I need to switch something up over here, so I guess I'll have to do that later. But I'm going to look at what it costs to end some stakes over on the Ethereum network right now, but I can't do that at this point in time, so all is good. Brewmaster Jerry says, always a pleasure to catch you live. Love your contacts. Thanks for all you do. Much love as well, Brewmaster Jerry. Fox Mulder, hello, hello. Yo, people, what's up? Is PulseChain dead? Mr. Big Payday asks. No. No, PulseChain is not dead, my friend. Just my opinion, though, right? Everyone's entitled to their own. But I do not believe that PulseChain is dead. There's way too much going forward inside and in around the ecosystem with way too many holders for it to actually be dead. Now, could prices be lower than initial expectations? Sure. What if we only hit 1 penny, for example, right? What if that's the all-time high? So we get 100x from sack price, right? Like, what if that's the case? So you got sack price right here and it just reaches a penny. Like, I don't know. That's pretty damn good if you ask me still, but that's just my personal opinion. That's why I say, if you can, instead of trying to rely on your 1 million or 10 million pulse to get you the goals and gains that you were looking for, because prices are cheaper now than they have been in the previous few weeks, then absolutely scoop up a bigger size bag. So that way, instead of you needing to get 1,000x, you just need a 500x. And what if prices stay lower for longer? I've said this in the past as well. I can see this going sideways all the way until really about July, maybe even October, right? And by sideways, I mean within a 3x range. So I could see this here by August, where we're just sitting 2x above sack price, and everyone's like, "Oh well, fuck, man, that's it. I guess that's it. That was a fun bull market, but like the bull market hasn't even started, y'all. Right? This is one of the common things that you're hearing so many people ask. Are we done with the bull market? Is it already over? Right? When you look at Bitcoin overall, because it's done its recent top on these levels, you say, is this it? Like, was that the bull market? Are we done already? And right now, this is more so of a hype cycle. We've seen some meme coins go absolutely crazy, but that's kind of what happens during bull markets, if you will, where you get markets in particularly individual sectors that can pump and rally quickly, and then has a pullback, and then another section pumps and rallies. And at this point in time, the way I'm seeing the market is we are still pretty much playing out the same thing. Have we done things differently this time than we have ever done previously? Yes, I cannot deny that. Hitting a previous all-time high before the Bitcoin halving was wild, okay? Just having that happen alone was pretty damn crazy. Then you also had it fall under the 200 MA. So if you actually were to pull up over here, let me see if I can just pull up a single MA over here. So moving average, where we at? Moving average, not the ribbon. Okay, cool. Guess I'll just type it in over here. Moving average. Simple. Let me just type in simple. SMA. Come on. Smooth move average. What is this? All right, and flip it over here to where we can get a little 200 as well. 200. And flip this over here on weekly so it actually pulls up. So this had never really happened before with Bitcoin. It had never really fallen below 200 weekly moving average. It did, in fact, fall under the weekly 200 moving average. I know it's a little bit harder to see, so apologize. Let me see if we can make it a little bit thicker for you. Thickness, maybe make it white. All right, so this is the weekly moving average that you can see. It had never fallen below the 200 weekly moving average. Going back a couple of times over here, it was one of those things that when it fell through, it was like, wow, no way, this is crazy. And then also, it broke its previous all time high. It was like, wow, this is crazy. There's so many things that have happened, but at this point in time, it's kind of fallen back into what we would expect. The the Bitcoin halving is a sell the news event. We're seeing a sell the news event happen right now. You have finally a potential to see a red month. This could, in fact, be what the market needs. I would love to see a cool down on these charts, right? Whenever I'm looking at this right here, I would love to see a cool down. This is a good correction. Doesn't mean that it has to happen, but should it happen, I'm definitely thankful that it does because right now that greed index is still sitting at 72, and we know when we get into extreme greed, time to take some profits. I'm gonna try. I'm not even gonna say anything on the stream real quick. We'll see if I end up doing it. But anyways, do I think PulseChain's dead? To answer the question, Mr. Big Payday, no, I do not. I think we still have plenty of time to go ahead. If you look at other cycles like Phantom, for example, is always a good one. Phantom, if I could type that in correctly. Whenever you pull up the actual chart for Phantom, you know what? While I'm waiting for the chart to pull up, we're gonna hit y'all with a little "It is Wednesday, my dudes," because it is Wednesday. We're just having a
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. So I like Phantom in particular because if you know when the halving was last cycle, it was May of 2020. So the halving was in this region right here, and Phantom had been out during that time period all before the May Bitcoin halving. And you can see it had a launch price of 2 cents. And again, we can get real technical over here with it, but I'm just going to assume 2 cents right here to keep it simple. It then dripped all the way down to be as low as a 90% dip, dropping to 0.0032. It then had a rally and recovery at 3 cents over here. This is by the July or June timeframe. Again, so you have October of 2018 over into June of 2019. Whereas you go back into the October timeframe of when it first launched, so October to October of 2019, and where are we? Well, we are actually lower than it was when it first launched, sitting about 50% lower than it was when it first launched. It then continued to go down a little bit further and a little bit lower going into the halving, and this is exactly how you see it all play out before it starts doing some little rally and recovery. So now we are back to previous all-time lows over here at 2022 right here, going up to 2 zeros and a 5. So roughly a 3x gain at this point, okay? Now when you break this down as to when the actual chart kicked off, well, let's pull it up from when the actual time kicked off. So we got May of 2020, and I'm just kind of zooming out just a smidge more over here to keep it simple. But you have a little bit after the May of 2020, but I think y'all get the idea. You end up getting this where we go sideways for guess what? Even October of 2020. So this is 2 years later, folks. 2 years after launch. It is below the launch price, right? Because we started at 2 cents. 2 years later, we are at damn near 2 cents, if not 1 cent right here, going even lower. And guess what? When does it really start kicking off? It really starts kicking off in the January of 2021 timeframe, which is where I'm getting my numbers and ideas and speculations from, saying we might not go with the crazy rally. We might just get a little 3x rally potential going into the November timeframe, even August to November, because maybe we're doing things a little bit faster than we did back here. But after January of 2021, that sucker started going. It hit 5 cents. It then went up and hit 6 cents, and then went up and hit 9 or 91 cents, right? a massive increase during this time period. So this is by May of 2021. Started at 2 cents, sitting at 91 cents. Wow, it had a massive retracement as well, going all the way back down to 16 cents before it did a massive bull run rally going into the November October 2021 timeframe, sitting at $3 right there. That's huge. That's huge, y'all. You can look at this as well for Avalanche. Avalanche is another one that has similar mechanisms when you actually look at the overall chart on this particular chart down below. This is launched after the Bitcoin halving, so we're not going to assume that it was before. Forget whatever happened during this time period because this launched after Bitcoin halving. Okay. However, you have $5.28 when it first launched. It went sideways going into the January timeframe where it's back above $5. So now we're January of 2021, whereas again, it launched September of 2020, and then it really started taking off. It hit the $60 level right here. I can't even get my mouse to end up getting right there, but y'all get the idea. And ended up hitting roughly around $60 right here before it had a pullback, a retracement, going back down to $9, and then it ended up going all the way up to $134. That's what a bull run looks like. It is extremely quick. It happens to where you just see things. Everyone's going to say, well, that was it. The bull market's done. They're going to see a recovery. They're going to see it go up. Heck, even imagine we're here. We're $3. We're in this range. Assume this is PulseChain. So we're just going to go based on SAC price. And then it goes up to 50x above that. Or I guess 10x above that, right? We'll say 15x is what I meant to say. So now you're again $3 to $55. You're like, wow, that was cool. Everyone's making money. Everyone's in profit. When it's making new all-time high, no matter what, every person who ever bought at any point in time is in profit. People are excited. People are euphoric. Extreme greed starts to kick in. These sell-off then comes, and people are going to say, that's it. That was the end of the bull market. I hope you enjoyed. It's going to be a big old sell-off. People are going to say, that's it. That's it. Continue this over and over and over and over. Some people are going to shake out because they're going to be like, well, shit, I'm still 3x up my money. Why wouldn't I just cash out now? And for those individuals, I feel extremely sorry because then you go third cup. Oh, I've been using the quarter cup and then adding a little bit more. Yeah. So that I just heard like whispering going on behind me. The wife snuck up. So when it goes from again this dollar range over here, they're gonna be like, "Oh, it's over, it's over," and then bam, it goes up to $134 at that point in time. Which had you just held or had you taken profits along the way, you're up 3x higher than its previous all-time high, damn near. And everyone's gonna be like, "Wow, whoa, my gosh!" So do I think Pulse Chain's dead? To answer the question, no. That was a long-winded way of saying no. But I gave you some details and reasons why, and I hope that makes sense. Salutes to you as well, my boy. Took advantage of the sixth way the other day to end some stakes. That's how you capitalize. You capitalize on those moments, y'all. You say, and I'm just gonna go ahead and end some stakes. Things look pretty damn good. Why not end some stakes, right? Why the heck F not? Just wanted you to be able to see the puppy as well. That way you can see her. Sixth way is incredible, by the way. Like, damn. Way to capitalize on that, my boy. Like, damn. I even have an alert that would go off anytime it's been below 10, and it just kind of stayed where it just doesn't go off all the time now because it's actually held below 10 for quite a while. How did I just get the notification that you're live? Sup, peeps? Greeting ATX. Yeah, I just made the video and then just went live. You know what I mean? I just made the link, went live right away. So I feel like that's a little bit of an easier way to get it done. In stake, absolutely. Not meaning to shill by any means, but do you see X1 being a competitor to PulseChain? Nah, he's garbage. But everyone can say that about everything. People are scared to invest in anything really nowadays, except for what's already been tried, true, and tested. So you had the massive launch of layer twos come last bull market, and for the most part, people are just now starting to play on those networks. Even then, you still had the massive gains where you can see it go from, you know, many hundreds of X's to happen as well. PulseChain is not dead, just young and growing. Facts. The whole market is down. Yeah. Yeah, this is the little chart behind me. You can see over here. The market is red today for sure. Heck, if you pull this up on the monthly to see how things have been on the monthly, things are red, folks. Like this is kind of what the monthly looks like overall in crypto. So it's okay. It's part of the games in crypto, right? Because then you start going into year to date and everything's green. And you start getting into further than that in the performance of over a year and everything is green. But if you just give it time, my friends, my fellow ATXicans and crypto entrepreneurs, this is part of the way the ecosystem goes. But yeah, as of the daily, things are looking a little red. PulseChain might not be dead, but I am inside. A lot of people feel that way right now, fam. So you, my friend, are not alone because I'm joining the company. It's one of those I would love. I just want, dude. I would love to just go make a new floor much higher than where we are right now. Just give me a new floor so that way everyone who bought and sold and cashed out and had weak hands have to buy in higher because right now when prices are going down for the people who end up say having weak hands and they're like, you know what, man, I don't think this is gonna work out. I'm just gonna go ahead and sell. Those people who did that and they're like, I'm just gonna sell, man. Regardless if it was the right decision or not, long term in the future, right now, that was an emotional decision a lot of the times. And so being the prices are here, they were just like, I had some time to think about it. I'm actually gonna double my bag, right? Like because they can actually double their bag right now. If you actually ended up taking profit up here at this level, even over here at these levels, right? Anywhere in the 3 zeros, 1 4 range, and the price is sitting at 4 zeros in the 7 range, well, you can double your bag, my boy. And so I'd love for us to just say, make a new floor up here. So that way, when prices are bouncing and things are going crazy, if people want to sell down here, they have to buy back in higher. That is a beautiful thing. But we're not there yet, I guess. And I guess we're going to go sideways. We're going to do this. We're going to play this little level where we're just going to capitulate for longer than expected, longer than anticipated, until somebody, somewhere, somehow decides to do something to cause it to pump. So I feel you. I feel you right there. Upper Echelon has around 700,000. YouTube just posted anti-Hex video. Shit talking the ecosystem. Last time that channel did that, Hex did a 5x. The bottom must be in. Too funny. Too funny. Yeah, he definitely has plenty of YouTube subscribers. And why not kick people when prices are down? It gets that clickbait going. I could put the clickbait title of PulseChain is dead, PulseChain is doomed, and I'd probably get a hell of a lot more views because people love doom and gloom. People love drama. It's a proven fact. People need something to bitch and moan about, unfortunately. That is a sad, sad truth. They need drama in their lives, which is why we love TV shows and why it's done the way they are, which is when you see the things like Chicago fire, people are constantly putting their lives on the lines, and then you go talk to a real fireman, and that shit never happens in real life ever. It's all drama, shit. Grey's Anatomy, any of it. Talk about any show ever. Period. There's drama involved. We need drama in our lives, and this is just merely one of those drama things that are happening for people who have been in crypto for a while. It's really just another day in the block. But for people who haven't, yeah, unfortunately. That depends on who builds on X1. Zen cannot carry the chain, in my opinion. But this is crypto. Craziness happens daily. That's 100% true. That upper echelon video is such a bottom signal. Facts. Oh, ATX in trouble. Man, I would love to just come on here and just hit it with a little hype. We going freaking to the moon. Like, you know what I mean? Like, dude, it's always good when you get the energy coming from the pumps, y'all. The pumps feel good. They're a real thing. They feel really great. You see over here where You get these little pumps that happen, and this is again on the weekly, but you start here and you're like, oh my gosh, we pumped 3x in 14 days. Let's go. Feels great. That feels great, man. It feels absolutely fantastic. I still try to find reason as to what happened around this particular date for the event that actually took place, but neither here nor there. I digress. I may not have to understand everything to see long term in the future, but I do see a future long term. And this is an absolute beautiful thing. I was talking about some numbers the other day or today actually as well. So like, assuming you end up just having say 500 million pulse right now, right? For example, let's just toss out 300 million pulse for example. And again, you can estimate whatever number you want for the time being. But at the current price, 300 million times the current price of 407266 is roughly around $20,000. That's not the craziest thing ever to be like that crazy as well, especially considering people's portfolios and investments. So, definitely a possibility for many individuals. That 300 million pulse ends up reaching 1 penny one day. Again, 100x from sack price for the examples discussed earlier sits at $3 million. So, who cares if it doesn't end up doing like the thousands of X's? Make it so that way again, you can just have more available when the price ends up getting to the penny. So, like, whether or not you need the 1000x to get yourself $1 million or whatever you're trying to go for, whatever that goal is, try to figure out and play around with some numbers as well. But also take profits along the way, guys. Greed is a real freaking thing. Greed is 100% real, and you definitely want to try to get in control of that before it gets out of control. Looking at some cryptocurrency news. Let's take a little gander at some news happening. Solana price breakout, 25% rally, likely due to this reason. SEC comments or seeks comments for BlackRock spot Ethereum ETF. CEO Jack Dorsey reveals new Bitcoin mining system. They bounce off the golden ratio, implications of price. PayPal proposes crypto rewards. That's funny. Speaking of, it's actually getting harder for people to, you know, actually make money mining Bitcoin. So keep that in mind. Also, Bitcoin mixing services. This actually just happened today. Bitcoin mixing services Samurai Wallet founders arrested, charged with money laundering. This is a free open source software similar toward things like Tornado Cash. However, unfortunately, because it was created by an individual, they are now pressing charges on these individuals. So this is a significant development where these two individuals, founders and CEO of the privacy-focused Bitcoin wallet and mixers, have been arrested and charged with money laundering and operating an unlicensed money transmitting business. Okay, guys, so I went in depth on this as well. Right, I discussed this, briefly. But when you go make mad money in crypto and you go make all your millions and you go have all the fun, there's certain individuals who go open up things like businesses and create this kind of stuff to try to help the ecosystem grow and further and better itself. It's just like being self-employed. I'd say 1 in 5 people actually make it any better than if they had just held. And I look at these articles right here and I'm like, why would you ever want to go make like it stinks, man. Why would you ever want to go make something? I know it's like crazy to even think about that kind of stuff considering, but if you go make a lot of money in crypto, a lot of the times you're just better off holding the fucking crypto. You avoid all this bullshit for sure. But the US Department of Justice arrests popular Bitcoin mixer Samurai Wallet founders charged with money laundering. Why would you want this, man? Like that's crazy. They facilitated over $2 billion in unlawful transactions and allegedly laundered more than $100 million in criminal proceeds. Like half the times this shit's all made up. But neither here nor there. Why would you want this in your life? So when you go make all the money, are you gonna go open up a business? I sure as shit hope not, boys and gals. I sure as shit hope not. After reading some of these, again, you see people go like open up, we'll say like they'd go do like mining rigs and they go do this and then they open up wallets and then they go do this and then they open up all these different things and then they go make themselves a business for themselves like fucking FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried. He was over here making tons of money, tons and tons of money doing his arbitrary or arbitrage. Tons. It wasn't enough. Greed kicked in, opened up, the Alameda Research, opened up FTX. And then he ends up getting even more greedy and playing with other people's money and doing all sorts of other shit that wasn't even necessary in the first place. Where if he just held his fucking Bitcoin, he'd probably still be out of jail for sure. Well, he would be. There's no doubt about that, assuming he didn't do something else stupid. But guys, it's crazy. I see these articles all the time. I honestly, I do not want people to go make any business when they go make a whole bunch of money. I see this happen all the freaking time. People are like, I'm gonna go buy a whole bunch of mining rigs and set up all this stuff so that way I can earn passive income. Stop it. Just stop it. Like, it's so crazy, man. So crazy. Moo Mud in the house. Hello. Hey fam. So smash the likes for sure. What's up, my G? Tea time. What's up, my G? And people in the chat. Hope you're enjoying your life, my boy. So much love to you. So much love to everyone. Can't wait to see everybody. Can't wait to meet up again. We got Hex Monkey in the house. Meanwhile, the U.S. government launders billions of dollars through Ukraine, and it's A-OK. Yeah, dude, of course. They're the ones doing it. They can go print as much money as they want. Dude, have you looked at the U.S. debt clock lately? It is impossible for us to ever pay this back. So just go print a whole bunch of fucking money at this point. It's kind of how I see it. But I looked at this the other day, and I think this point in time, we're actually gonna have more. We're almost gonna have more interest charged on the debt this year than we actually have spent on the budget, which has never happened. It's something crazy like that. But if you look at this fucking debt clock, this isn't going anywhere. $34 trillion. Okay. Like we're gonna pay. Look how fast this thing ticks up, man. It's just wild. It's just absolutely crazy. And again, you look even further over here and you're like, okay, cool. Let me just kind of zoom on in over here and just kind of take a little gander real quick. Whoops. So again, you look at this 34,681,820. Come on, man. Come on. Ain't nothing happening with that. Nothing, y'all. Not a damn thing is gonna happen. There's literally gonna be more interest. Look at 813. Is that billion? Yeah. Thousand million billion. $813 billion just in interest on the debt. And we have rates higher right now than they've been previously. All right, we've looked at the CME as well. And the longer they keep rates up, which they have to do because inflation is out of control. So when you look at this like CME watch tool, are they going to do anything? Fuck no, dude. The inflation's still way out of control, right? Like there's not a chance, and all that is that we're going to lower the rates. Now there's people are saying there's a 3.5% chance that we're going to lower the rates in May. It's because the higher these rates stay at 525 and 550, like the higher we're up in this region, the more that debt clock has to pay the interest on it, and it's an impossible cycle. Literally an impossible cycle, my guys. Literally. It's wild to even imagine. This is why we need to keep suing the government so they leave us alone. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, again, they can just go print as much money as they possibly want. So, does suing them really make the difference? Is the question that we should ask. If it did, I think a whole lot more people would be suing. Unfortunately, it's the David versus Goliath situation, and could you be the David in the situation? Sure. Or could you end up just getting smashed like many of the other people who tried to be David in that situation? That's always the question. And if you got a whole bunch of money to spend and blow, then fuck it, why not? But a lot of times you just don't. And then the downside is they do. They can literally go write anyone any amount of money, and they are using Ukraine as an excuse. the war in Israel right now happening with that. Oh, we got to send these sorts of things. We got to go make another $100 billion fund to help them out. Why don't we focus on paying down some of our debt? Yeah, exactly. To the tune of 90 billion every month or so. Meanwhile, our veterans are homeless, facts, and illegal migrants get debit cards, facts, expedited citizenships, facts, and our elderly population rots away working, facts. It's sad, man. It's sad to see that. It's literally like someone ended up doing I think it was like a little TikTok or something like that, being like, I think we'll say the $90 billion stimulus package that they're sending out to Ukraine for this example. I think there was 100 billion. We're just gonna say for ease of numbers. They were like that could end up essentially paying every household across America like $100,000 a piece. Or it was even crazier, where it was like it could end up paying for all of the VA and vets who are going through all of their struggles and actually pay that 5 times over. Or it could actually end up paying out people's social security to actually end up making it to where they didn't have to work. Because right now the prices of people's jobs versus the inflation are so far apart right now. Did you know one day, this is like 50 years ago, before my time, but there was a day where housing prices were only 3 times the annual salary for a person. So if you were making $30,000 a year, your house was $90,000. And it was a decent house. That was a good house. That was where you were at. It would fit within the budget. Nowadays, that same individual who goes and makes, we'll say 60,000 because of the inflation mechanism from 50 years that have gone by, are now looking at houses at $500,000, almost 10 times their annual salary. That doesn't allow them the ability to pay for such things such as the home ownership repairs. Guys, if you do not own a home, you don't understand. There's just random shit that comes through. Sometimes the water heater will burst. Sometimes you need a whole new fence. Sometimes a hailstorm will come through and blow off all the shingles. Sometimes it's just random shit that happens on houses all the freaking time. So now you have people stretched already so far on their budget, on their expenses, because of the 10 times annual salary almost in that situation, that they can't even afford to fix stuff at their house. It is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. Having a little Hex meetup Saturday at 12:30 at Houlihan's in Springfield, Missouri. Welcome to all. There you go, Moonmut. Anyone who's in the area, y'all heard it right there. Get in touch with Moonmut. I'm sure there's a way to actually get in touch. It would be very interesting to go meet fellow Hexicans, Pulsicans, and Pulse-Exicans. It's always a pleasure to go meet them in person as well. I haven't been to Springfield in 3 years. Lol. Will Stevenson and Paul Sox is going to be there. There you go. You got people going there. Get your ass down here, Alan. Sometimes your sewer backs up and floods your renovated floor at 1 a.m. and have to pay thousands in the middle of winter right before the Super Bowl, the night before the Super Bowl. Facts. Tell them, hey fam, like guys, this shit happens. And unfortunately, we're in a situation now where it almost just doesn't make sense to buy a house, which is freaking crazy. Because like home ownership was one of the ways people in made their wealth, right? And it's a tough thing to go through, unfortunately. But dude, 1,000%. Sometimes it'll just be random shit that happens. And whenever those things end up going through, it is what it is. Intrepid Pulse X, awesome to catch you live. For once, being in UK timing is messed. Yeah, I did my stream a little bit earlier today. Usually I don't knock it out for about another hour, but I had some availability to actually get it done a little bit sooner rather than later. So I said, you know what? Let me just knock it out. Speaking of, it is Wednesday. It is Wednesday, my dudes. I love that freaking frog, man. I look forward to Wednesday so much just to get the frog. For real, for real. Oh, jeez. Let me see if I can pull up a little chart over here. Home price to median household income ratio. Let's see what this chart looks like. And let's see if I can make sense of the chart while live on stream. This is one of those you can see back. This is all the way going back into the 50s over here, right? 54 right now. So again, the ratio is roughly around the 6 ratio right over here, right? And then it went down to 3. This is again 1970s. So if you had a $30,000 job, for example, you were still able to afford a $90,000 house. That was well within reason. Again, this is 73, so all within reason. It stayed that way for a good damn near 20 years almost, right? At some point in time, it got up to 4, but it then came back down to 4. So again, if your job was 30,000, you could still be looking at a $120,000 house. And then the economy just absolutely went kabam, and house prices went crazy. This is obviously leading into the housing bubble. You're going to see where we are today. And folks, things get pretty crazy. Housing bubble is all in 2005 and 2008. Obviously, it led to the financial crisis of '08 and '09, right? And then you see the prices on the houses come back down to an affordable range, but still in the 4 to almost 5 ratio. Whereas right now, today, folks, we are up here in the 7. This isn't even including 2024 yet, right? And it's starting to curve down a little bit, but it's almost a 7.6 ratio or 8.6 ratio. So if you were making $30,000 and you're having to pay 8 times more than that, you're looking at the average median house at that point in time being $240,000 just to even try to go get a house. That's let alone what the interest rates are right now. Like we can talk about that, but that's a whole different discussion on that for a whole different day. It gets freaking crazy. It gets absolutely crazy, man. And so it's kind of scary. It's kind of like we're trying to do everything to stay afloat right now, but it doesn't look pretty good for the economy, or it doesn't look good at all for the economy. So pretty crazy. Finally caught alive as well. What's good, y'all? Check my pulse. Hello, hello, hello. I've stayed with my parents the entire bear market. Used all my savings to buy Pulse. That's a perfect way to do it, man. Like if you can get it right, like we have such a weird stigma that we put on for people who stay with the parents. But if you look at so many other cultures around the world, we'll say more Asian and Indian type cultures, they grow up with their family where they live in one house. Everyone helps pay for everything. It allows so much less stress. But we put on this stigma that we got to move out as soon as you're 18. Get the fuck out of my house, right? You kick out the kids. We all got kicked out at some point, I'm sure. Or we did something stupid, or we wanted to get out and escape and be our own people. And then you end up taking on so much debt right away, right when you're 18. It's pretty freaking crazy. And so nowadays we're growing up where, like, think about this. So my daughter is going to have grown up in the Bitcoin age at this point in time. Since Bitcoin has been around, she has been a part of this. That is beautiful because that allows it's this mindset of digital currency is the way to go. People are escaping the mindset of needing to go get the 401ks, needing to go do all this because it hasn't panned out for the older folks who did that same stuff many years ago. So because of that, they are used to paying by stuff via a virtual ability or currency. So they are used to the iTunes gift cards. They're used to the App Store. They're used to just swiping stuff. They're used to digital currency. They've grown up with it. And so for them, they this is their savings right now. This is the way to get it done. And you have a whole generation that's coming up for the Gen Z and everything like that who's going to be driving this all up even further because people don't want to mess with the overall ecosystem anymore. Speaking of, this is just looking at Bitcoin chart real quick on the Mayer multiple bands. So essentially right here, where we current, whoops, I zoomed out way too far on that one. So this is where it basically is currently sitting right here on the Mayor multiple band. We are still in a nice little zone of a bullish zone. The bullish extension does put us at 119,000 for Bitcoin, all the way up to 215, 216,000. So we are still playing all within this range in this zone. This is still a bullish market. This is a bull market, as you, if you will, right? The definition of a bull market is being in this little mirror multiple here. For the most part, it's not the exact definition, but it's a pretty good indicator. So things have been pretty bullish for a little bit, especially since really October, I believe, if we actually were to get technical, right? That was right whenever things really started kicking off over here. You had the November time frame where we were bearish back here in this range, going all the way up and entering into where we are now, going into the bullish zone. So I think we still have plenty of room to grow. We still got so much more room to end up getting to. I know we've talked about this in the past with Bitcoin and where it could possibly go, and Ethereum and the overall market, and just seeing everything and how it's all going to play out. But folks, 240,000 Bitcoin? Come on now. And even if it's 200,000 Bitcoin, congrats, man. Again, for me, it's not enough to be invested in that situation because even today, at this point in time, it's still only a 3.2x. I'm looking to make a lot more than a 3.2x personally. And I do plan on making more than a 3.2x. How? By being in the PulseChain ecosystem, by being in the ecosystem. I know it's tough to end up looking at where the prices are currently at to end up having that same vision. But folks, even just looking at the ink token, let's just pull this up for a brief moment, just so that way y'all can see something over here. When I look at the ink token on the actual overall chart of where it could potentially end up going, it shows me a $340 ink token. How happy would you be if we ended up getting $340 ink token? Again, this is us currently sitting at around $3.60, going up to a $340 ink price. A nice 100x gain. I am perfectly happy with that. Can I interest you in a 3.3x? Facts. So anyways, Jamal, the whole thing was brought out the whole chart of housing and all that good stuff was because of your comment right there. So love it, love it, love it. Y'all special, but I don't know if y'all that special. Lol. Finally caught a live was good. Appreciate it. Been working DCA, all about that hustle. LFG accumulation mode, facts. AFAM, absolutely. Don't get out of bed for a 3x. Yeah. Again, that's what I say. Like, even for the prices of like the Pulse system, whenever I say going sideways, I actually mean playing within a 3x range, which is hilarious because I understand that that could be some people's like bull market money at that point in time. But I think even if we just play in this little zone for a 3x range on PulseChain and it bounces here up into the, 3 zeros and a 2 price, and we end up going there until fucking August, September, October, November, I just think that still isn't enough to really like kick us out of this whole little zone that we're in right now. So let's just have some fun. Let's just draw a quick little bars pattern and say if we end up doing this, going to here, what would prices look like if we were to keep on going with that same thing? We would break above its previous all-time high, pulling us into the 3037 price. Again, I could definitely see this being a possibility. I could, in fact, see this whole thing being a possibility if we were to actually draw this whole thing out from where we are right here to where we currently are over here. Could this, in fact, be how this whole thing plays out? Yep. It could play out just like this, where even by December, we're only essentially 40% above SAC price. How mad would people be at that point in time? You want to talk about shaking out weak hands? That is shaking out weak hands. And then you end up start seeing some mad prices go crazy. Now, this may not be what you want to hear, but it's going to be what you're going to hear, right? Anyways, guys, I hope that helps give some clarity as to where I could see prices going, what I could see happening, how I could see it playing out, how long I could see it playing out for, what I could see happening overall. And hopefully that gives you some perspective yourself. At these prices, do we keep buying? I buy until September of this year, and then I will make the determination if I will continue to buy. This is just my personal plan. Again, this is kind of how I can see the whole chart playing out is exactly like this, folks. So what if by September we're only 10% or 20% above SAC price. People are going to be mad. I will not be mad. I'm buying through this entire time. I've been buying all this time. And if it gives me the stack at this point in time, then I just hold. Unfortunately, some people have already stopped buying, which is why you get the big sellers, because they've already hit their number and their goal. I'm going until September. Some people have already stopped. Some people will continue going because this is still within the first 2 years of a token. Incredible time. And you got to make that determination for yourself. Row up. And I hope that makes some sense. These prices are selling prices, sir. Lol. DCA and you can't go wrong. I agree. But guys, enjoy the weekend, or enjoy the rest of the day. Enjoy the rest of the evening. I will catch every single one of y'all tomorrow. And again, have a wonderful evening.
I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. 'Cause anything